Welcome to Disconnecting from the Matrix, where the release is from within. Hello, Sovereign Creators. I'm your host, Alice Kim, and this is episode 19 called You Are God. The title says it all. It's the key to your freedom. It doesn't get any simpler than that. So elegant in its simplicity that you gloss over it and search for more complicated solutions. If you would contemplate this title and live it at every moment until you fully embody your presence, your I am, you would be totally liberated, and the matrix will spit you out. So, want to get spat out? Stay tuned. Let me get straight to the point and answer the very question that all of us came here for. The entire point of our earthly existence is ultimately for this realization, which is the realization of what you are, the realization of yourself as God. You are God. The answer is so simple, so obvious, yet only a handful of people have got this in all of our history. And the reason is not because the answer is hard to find or that it's purposely hidden from us. Because once you tune in, it's everywhere. But the reason why much of our race hasn't found the simple answer to what we are is because we have been looking in all the wrong places. We have put all our focus on everything except the one place we need to be looking, which is inward, squarely upon ourselves. You are God. So let me save you loads of lifetimes of searching, if that's what you want, of course. If you want to keep seeking, go right on ahead. You are completely honored. But please, unsubscribe from this podcast because I'm going to be spewing out a lot of spoilers. And unfortunately, it's a little too late now because I already dropped the biggest bomb of all, that you are God. And if you don't like the word God, call it whatever you want. It's you, so call yourself whatever you wish to call yourself. God doesn't care because there's no definition that can ever peg it down. Your true self, what you really are, as God, is beyond any definition you've ever given yourself. All the words we came up with to describe God can only come close at best. But mostly they're totally and dangerously off, like those that have been taught for millennia from the pulpit. That God, the God taught from the pulpit, is actually a direct insult to God I am, to you. The God depicted in religions is an insult to all that is because it is a sorry-ass humanoid character born from the small, limited minds of men. God created us as itself, in its true image, absolutely. And that's what I'm here to tell you. You are God. But the one we ended up worshiping is an imposter that we created according to our human image. So according to that one very famous book, in that story, God didn't make us in His image. A dude on top of that. A white dude, no less. No, as far as the God in that book is concerned, He is a man-manufactured entity. And that thing is not you. You are God. And since we do need words, what do you call yourself? What is your name? The closest definition of God that I like to use is that it is. It just is. So that means that you is too. In other words, you are. And when you proclaim what you are, dear God, the closest thing you can declare when you speak of yourself is to say, I am. Not I am this or I am that. No. Anything that comes after I am isn't you. That's all the crap you made up to hide what you really are. I actually simply prefer I because when you think about it, the am part is already implied. In our language, there's nothing more comprehensive, more singular, more elegant, more simple, and more declarative than to call myself I. Those of you with a Judeo-Christian background are familiar with this famous name of God. The story goes, God came to Moses in the form of a burning bush, and when asked what its name is, it replied, I am that I am. That's the most common translation, and there are others that are similar, such as I am who I am, or I am who I will be. But the shortened version is I am. I like the simplicity of I am. The rest of it, that I am, that part, to me, seems redundant. But again, it's just words. The Hebrew word, or I should say letters, in the English alphabet translated as YHWH, pronounced Yahweh, is this name, I am, which translates to be or to exist. And that's the point of this podcast, for you to know what you are so you can be what you are and therefore live as you are. That's what it means to be sovereign, to be free, to be you. Not some idea of who you think you are as a personality in a body. A creation you made for yourself, not knowing your true nature. A creation that looks and acts exactly like that humanoid God we wrote down in that book. We are embodied here on this idea called Earth, or what I call the Matrix, for one purpose only, to know ourselves. As what? As the human you are? The personality you are? No, we are each here to consciously know ourselves as the Creator, as God I am. That's the entire reason why this reality system was created. Not to bring upon suffering or pain or dissatisfaction, but to serve us in helping us to become conscious of our true nature, to finally know what we are, to finally realize, oh my fucking God, I am God. Holy shit, I am God. When you come to the point when you fully realize yourself as I am, you don't need to escape from the matrix or do anything on your part to disconnect from it. Your only part is to know yourself. And at the point where you become fully conscious of your I amness, your beingness, the matrix will spit you out because its function will become obsolete. And apologies if you're cringing every time I say the word God, because I used to. It used to be a very loaded word with lots of hot buttons that got pushed. But after I accepted my new and only true identity as I am in this new reality, I actually came around to rather liking the word. I mean, what is there not to like about being God? Another wonderfully unexpected result of this is that every time I hear mention of God, no matter what context, I feel wonderfully reminded of my God self instead of being upset or resistant or focused on what other people choose to believe, which is none of my concern. For example, I was at a jazz performance a few months ago, and the pianist sang a gospel-inspired tune praising God and his blessings. And instead of judging him or the song and getting all uncomfortable and provoked like I used to when I didn't know better, I opened up my hands and took in that sweet tune. I took in the beautiful lyrics and transformed it as an offering of praise and delight and appreciation for my God self. Now when I hear church music, praise be to my I am. Amen. Hallelujah. I get down praising myself with a capital S, my true self. And when I have casual conversations with people who mention God in the conventional sense, I can now go right along with them because unbeknownst to them, I have a different reference point and I don't have to announce it. They refer to a God that's separate from themselves and I refer to mine as myself. And whatever it looks or sounds like from the outside, it doesn't matter. We can all just carry on with our own reality base of our own choosing. Several years ago, when I made this jump and noticed the changes within me, I mentioned it to one person because, like many of you, I hardly have anyone around me who would not only understand, but would even be interested in this topic. And as I'm sure you already know from your own experience, it's only appropriate to volunteer this information only if the other person wants to know. So I told this to my one friend who lives 7,000 miles away because this feeling of expansiveness and inclusiveness to all things was a new freedom that was such a marked leap in my own consciousness that I needed to share it. And he was the only one at the time who got me at this level. Anyway, soon after, he sent me a quote that said, "I was atheist until I realized I am God." That about perfectly sums up my turnaround from fighting God to loving God, loving myself. Those of us here listening in on this path together, we really want to know what's real. We know that if we somehow found ourselves, we'd be completely free. And that's why so many on this journey of self-realization spend their entire lives earnestly seeking for the ultimate answer to the ultimate question of, who am I? What am I? You see, there is no greater endeavor than to want to know self. But you know what? As noble as our intention is, so many of us get immediately stuck just as soon as we set out on the path to find out. We trip over right at the gate because we get stuck in the seeking. The thing about seeking in the matrix is that you will never find. So many people call themselves seekers and get distracted in the drama of seeking. They don't want to know themselves. They just like the chase. That's why they keep looking for the answer outside of themselves, because they know they're never going to find it. Because deep inside, they know that as long as they continue to look for answers outside of themselves, the answers will never come, and the chase can continue on indefinitely. I am. There is no ambiguity in what you are, and what you are is what you have always been. It is you here and now, as it was in all eternity. You are God. All that is, whatever you want to call it. There is no need to seek for self, because you simply are, here, everywhere. Remember earlier I said that when you say I am, that is all? Adding anything beyond that is not you, especially when you say something like, I am a seeker. That is the most ironic and the dumbest thing for a supposedly awakened person to say. Simply declare, I am, and shut up. Feel deeply into this. Don't think about it. Feel into it. You who are open and willing and ready will know without a doubt what you are, not who you are, by the way. There is a distinction. Who you are is a body and the personality that you created that goes with it. Who you are is the human aspect. There is no certainty in that because who you are nothing more than labels and roles that you've configured to function within the polarizing binary code of the matrix. I am a woman. I am a man. I'm married. I'm divorced. I'm straight. I'm gay. I'm a CEO. I'm a housewife. I'm black. I'm white. I'm fat. I'm skinny. I'm healthy. I'm diseased. I'm Catholic. I'm atheist. And on and on and on. On the other hand, what you are, the I am of you, is constant and eternal and limitless. That's why no adjective after I am can define you. Anything that has a definition is in itself a limitation. Every time you declare whatever you think you are, every time you define yourself, you confine yourself to limitations. What you're declaring is what you are not. What you're declaring is everything except what you are. Don't you see what a massive disservice you're doing to yourself when you say, I am such and such. I am this and that. And this is what I wish to convey to you as the first step to going about this freedom thing. Stop the seeking now and start the knowing today. Because you see, it's already done. You always knew. So start there. Start from where you always are. Start from your knowingness, your I am. And in the coming episodes, let's start exploring how we can begin to tune out all the seeking, all things that we think define reality and ourselves, all the untruths, the I am nots, and begin to zero in and tune into a new reality of living, being, having, and doing in the freedom that only comes from being God. Be what you are. Be real. Be you. Stop being a poser. Stop frontin'. You're God, for God's sake. From my I am to your I am, thanks for listening. This episode can be found at disconnectmatrix.com/podcast/19. Again, that's disconnectmatrix.com/podcast/19. As always, your comments and feedback are greatly welcome. You can email me at alice@disconnectmatrix.com. Again, that's alice@disconnectmatrix.com. Until next time.